Oh, g'day, Jeff. Thanks for the call today, mate.
Hey, you're welcome, Peter. It's
No,
good to
no,
see you.
yeah, you too. So, where are you at the moment?
We're in Manly, so Manly Beach in Sydney, Australia.
Yeah, no. What's the weather like?
It's absolutely beautiful. I would do what most people do on their interviews is have like the ocean behind me, but there's too much sun and just be dark with my face. So I just decided let's just do it on the couch. It's
Yeah,
not quite as nice as the ocean, but it's absolutely beautiful out.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
I mean, I love Australia.
Yeah. All right, mate. So, what are you working on at the moment? What projects are you working on?
Uh, well, there's a lot of projects in right now, but the main focus we have right now is preparing for being on stage with Sir Richard Branson, Tim Ferriss, Jamie McIntyre, and many other great speakers. One of the things that we've learned is that preparation is absolutely essential before getting on in front of a room, in order to maximize people making new decisions
Mm-hmm.
and taking new actions. Is preparing where our testimonials, where they're going to be in the talk, also the the sequence of when we say things and don't say things in the
Mm-hmm.
talk as well is where we're preparing right now.
Mm-hmm.
We have lots of content, and so I bet the people listening have a lot of content
Yeah.
that they want to drill down. But actually, less content can be more effective than too much content, as a major takeaway. So if there's just one thing to remember is less content is sometimes more for
Yeah.
people because they can only digest so much.
Yeah. Wow. So now we'll backtrack a bit, jump in the Wayback Machine. You've worked with these huge companies. You're working with these big guys now, but you and your partner Kane have worked with Apple, Disney, DreamWorks. These are huge companies. You obviously didn't start out there. Before you got into the industry, or coaching, consulting, and live seminars.
Yeah.
Um, what were you doing? How did you get involved?
I got involved because I've always had a hobby, in the background while I was of just being in personal development seminars. I
Yeah.
absolutely love personal development work. I love working with people. I love helping see other entrepreneurs grow their businesses. It reminds me of when my brother-in-law actually he used to go sell cable to really rough neighborhoods in Los Angeles.
Mm.
Okay, so he would travel all around and do his best to sell cable, and he'd be getting threatened on the streets of
Yeah.
because he was in places he probably shouldn't have been to try and sell cable, and it just was a job. He was making $2,000-3,000 a month, barely making it, and it frustrated me to see someone with such drive, motivation. I mean, this guy was climbing over walls, okay, to go into other areas of the neighborhood and to go to the next door and the next door to knock on doors,
Mm.
okay? And this is the reason I love this business. This story tells it all. Is I came to him and I said, you know what would it be like for you to spend more time to do something that you absolutely love and get paid well for it and do it on your terms? He said, well, that'd be awesome. I said, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna get you a program on how to build online businesses, Facebook businesses. I'm going to actually fund it. I'm going to get you a program on online businesses. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an allocated amount of ad spend, okay, that you can invest every day to go and turn a profit on Facebook. And what I did was I funded his ad spends, invested about $500 every single day on ad spend. And the guy he's got Twilight pages making money, that movie about vampires.
Yep.
He's got NFL pages making money. I mean, and this is in a very short period of time, he's now completely left his job. He's making money. And to be able to give the gift of somebody being able to change their entire life by giving them a system and a model
Mm.
is the best business in the world, because his life will never be the same.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm in this business, and it started. I started coaching when I was about 21 years old, but I did it for free at the time.
Mm.
But then, sooner or later, I ended up charging money. So that's
Yeah.
how it worked. Your clients will get. If there's anything to remember, your clients will get better results when you charge them,
Why is that?
because people need to throw their hat over the wall to be successful. They need to make a commitment of some sort.
Yeah.
I've actually found that my clients that invest more with me get better results because they have more at stake.
Mm.
When nobody has a buy-in financially, there's a lack of commitment that happens. For example, one of my clients worked with people on health, okay? And she looked at celebrities in their health. And she said to me, well, I'm going to charge, $500 a month for my consulting around health. And I said, that client spends $500 at dinner. They're not. It's not even going to phase them. They will be a lack of commitment on their side, and they won't get the results because because you're not charging enough to where they pay attention. So she ended up switching her rates to $7,000 a month to work with these high-end clients. And the clients actually they pay attention because there's enough at stake. And now she's working with exclusive celebrities. Okay, this is not like a normal thing, but she's picked the right clientele, and they pay enough money where they pay attention. Now you don't need to maybe charge that much, whatever it is that you want to do. But are your rates, if you're listening to this, are your rates having your clients pay attention? In fact, if you're not charging enough, you could be hurting your clients' results.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the people listening to this, if you're a coach, author, speaker, you want to reevaluate your rates. If you're an expert or a rock star in the industry, are you charging expert rates? Or are you charging rock star rates? One of those is it'll help you get your clients better results. And plus, don't we want to work with people that we love to work with? Absolutely. So when you charge enough money to where your clients have to pay attention, you actually start getting clients that are more fun to work with and have a bigger game. If you want to create raving fans, then for your one-on-one consulting and for you got to charge enough to where they pay attention because they get better results, which creates more raving fans.
Wow.
Hopefully that made some sense in there.
Yeah. No, it does. Totally. I can see that whole commitment thing, really will come into play. So can you tell me about your mentors? Who are they? How did you learn all this stuff?
How did I learn it? Let's see. Well, when I first started, I was I remember driving down to my first real kind of job I had. It was a part-time job. I was about 20. And that was the last job I really ever had. And I remember going around the overpass on my first day to work. And I was coming over this overpass, and I looked down, and there was this sea of traffic in the 8 o'clock morning traffic.
Yeah.
And that was like my first day to work after really college. And there was just no way.
Yeah.
No way was I going to sign up for a life of traffic every single morning. And then and it reminded me on the way home that day. And I chose to, right when I went over that overpass, I said, I got to start reading some books. I absolutely need to start reading books because I have ADD, dyslexic, ADHD, all the other good stuff that that they have all those labels for. Because, and I just wasn't really reading in college.
Yeah.
And high school, it just was hard for me. And I said, I got to figure out a way to get over this and go read some books. So I picked up financial books, self-help books, everything, kind of like your bookshelf, actually. Everything I could find. And I immersed myself in personal development.
Yeah.
And making money. And then then I bought my first property when I was about 21. I had $5,000 in my account I had saved up. And then bought it for, I think it was $140,000. And it was worth about $190. And I turned around, flipped it, made about, I think it was like $25,000, $30,000. I don't actually remember the specific numbers. So many houses later, but I made enough money to where I could leave my job. And I never worked for anybody ever again. There were a couple close calls in between when I made a bunch of money and then lost it, almost got a job again. But that was where it started. And where was I? You see, that ADD, it kicks in.
Yeah.
Look, if I can do this business, anybody can.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so you're reading great financial books. When did you actually start connecting with leaders in finance and in business?
Yes, the mentors.
Yeah.
Well, it started with books because then I'm able to grab a book and spend time with that particular leader for hours, right?
Yeah.
And I made it a daily habit for an hour a day, literally an hour a day. I remember I would read a book because it was like sitting down with that leader. Now, some of those leaders that I was reading their books, I've now met and spent time with, but it started with their books. And I was reading books on with Sir Richard Branson and reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, like so many different books.
I got them up here.
Yeah, exactly. Like probably similar bookshelf.
Yeah.
And that's how it started. And then what began to happen was the more I was persistent and executed and bought. From about 21 to 26, I had actually bought and invested in over 49 properties all over the country. And I started spending time with wealthy developers as well. So I started to understand how money worked in that sense. and my credibility raised, and the more credibility I got raised by executing is so important. You can have an idea, but without execution, it's nothing.
Yeah.
So I was executing, and then what began to happen was things. People started coming to me for opportunities, and then I would ask other people that had that were successful. I would ask them what they needed next in their businesses. So the mentors that I wanted to do business with, I asked them one simple question: if there's any, is what do you need next in your business?
Okay.
So most people go up to people and they say, hey, how can, here's what I need next. You know how they do that in networking meetings?
Yep.
I actually flipped it on its head, and this is how we leverage our way to the top is ask successful people what they need next.
Yeah.
For example, and I learned this actually from my father from the very beginning. My father started a company when he was when I was very young. I remember it was called SoftStyle.
Yeah.
And SoftStyle was a software company in Hawaii that was acquired when I was about 14, I think it was, 13, 14, by a company called Phoenix Technologies. And from 0 till 12, about the age of 12, my family had very little money. I remember grandma bringing over groceries. Okay? And then my father's company was acquired by Phoenix Technologies, and life kind of changed from there. But my father taught me along the way that you've got to ask other successful people what they need next in their businesses, and look for how you can help them.
Okay.
And that's how, and then later on, you may have heard of it, but he also started a company called Odesk.
Yeah.
He was one of the founders of Odesk.
Your dad was?
And so I think I've been immersed from a very young age of an entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah.
And then also I also met a lot from a young age. I didn't know what was going on at a young age, but there were businesses were being started on my kitchen table. I mean, literally, my dad. I remember my father, the Odesk being started on a kitchen table. All the engineers around the table, like typing around.
Yeah.
And they just were willing. They were executing, and they were executing on their ideas. They weren't just thinking of ideas.
Yeah.
So the other way it happened was by asking that question, number one, and being willing to put myself in situations to where it was a little scary and uncomfortable. Walking up to people I normally wouldn't walk up to, and having a conversation.
Yeah.
The other way that accelerated, and I met some extraordinary mentors, was by speaking. So getting out there and giving talks on it and being an expert in a certain field.
Okay. So in the speaking side of things, actually, I sort of move it on. At your seminars, you talk about 6 revenue streams. What are they? And which one did you tackle first? And how did you go about implementing all of them?
Oh, sure.